All right, we're going to take a look at, for those of you who have to be at home, we're going to take a look at how you can do the diagramming assignments that we're doing at school, but you don't have illustrators, so you got to kind of do it a different way. So here we go. Take a look at this. Our assignment for today is about creating a diagram of the layers of the earth. And if you were to go, you can still go to, let me pull this up. You can still go to Google Classroom to be able to like turn the assignment in. I'm going to use period 1 as an example. It would work the same for period 5. You can still, it's loading, sorry. You can still look at the handout. There's a Google Doc on Google Classroom that has all of the requirements that are a part of this assignment. So you can still go to Google Classroom to look at that, and you can still go to Google Classroom to turn in the work that you're going to do. You're just going to do it a different way. So on the handout here, it tells you that we're going to make a it's going to be like a diagram that would go in a science book, and it's kind of like it's the layers of the earth, and it has to have, you're going to and I'll show you how you're going to do this. So some of these instructions aren't going to match up because you're not doing it in Illustrator, but you do have to have a title that's going to be in large letters. You got to draw the layers of the earth. That'll be done with circles. You have to label those, or they got to be filled in different colors. Each layer has to be a different color, and you'll label them. And you can use some lines or arrows, and you will be able to do that with the thing that I'm going to show you to do this diagram. So all of these requirements, except you won't really make a new, well, you sort of will. Let me just show you. I'll show you how this is going to work. I'm going to open a new tab, and I'm going to go to, you can also, you may have used this before. It's canva.com. So take a look at that. Don't get confused. It's not Google Canvas. It's canva.com. And you might have an app on your Chromebook already for canva.com. I'm not sure if you do or not, but I'm going to go ahead and hit enter there. You can just do it on the website. All right. So this is it. I've landed on canva.com. So we're going to log in, and you should just be able to do continue with Google. Log in with Google. It might pop up here and say, oh, you have to choose an account. I'm just going to choose my account there. And we're in. All right. Now, you might get this welcome screen here about welcome to Canva for education. Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's go. And I don't think that you'll see this because I think this is popping up, and maybe you will. I don't know, but I think this is popping up because I'm a teacher. But I'm just going to get rid of that. All right. Um, Now I have used Canva before, so I've got a bunch of designs on here already. I'm just going to close this little dialog box that's right here, and here's how we'll do this. All right, you're going to create a design up here on the top right hand side. Create a design. That's what we're going to do. All right, so I'll just click there, and we'll just do. Let's see, we can do a flyer. Okay, this will work. Create a design. It's not really going to be a flyer, but this will work for what we're going to do. So I'm going to go create a design, and we'll just go to flyer. That'll work. And here it comes. Okay, so this is this white page that you see here is kind of, that's your page, right? And what we're going to do is create a diagram of the layers of the earth. And it's going to have a title. Well, okay, so that's a text thing. I'll come over here to text. There are some kind of preset style kinds of things over here that you could play with, but I'm just going to say do this. Like for the title, I could say add a heading, and it pops on here and it says add a heading, but I'm going to change what that says: layers of the earth. All right. And if you look, you'll see this little pointy arrow thing, and there's a rotate thing as well. So I'm going to move that up. And you can size it if you grab a handle. If you think that's a little too big, you can size it a little bit and move it a little bit. Now, here are choices over here where I'm pointing to you right now, where it says Open Sans. There are, if you click there, there's a bunch of fonts. You can pick out whatever. Maybe I like this Bakari script for the title. That's kind of cool. Right here, is a setting for colors, and you can there's a color picker here, which you can kind of slide around and find pretty much any color you want. Or there are some swatches down here as well. You could pick those if you wanted to. So I've got a title on there, and I could, there's some other things up here that you can certainly play around with if you want to explore. You're not going to hurt anything. All right. So let's kind of move on. We've got a title on there, Layers of the Earth. Great. Now, to make the layers, we're going to go over here to Elements on the left-hand side, and we're going to use, to begin with, we're going to use shapes. All right. So I'm going to go roll this down a little bit, and here's shapes, and you might want to do see all right there, and it'll load up all the shapes. But really, what we want are circles. All right, because we're going to do these layers. All right. So I'll just click on one. All I did was click on the circle, and it put it on there, and I can stretch it out and make it bigger, and I can make it any color I want it to be, right? And I could use this new color box, or I could use colors that are provided here. So I start off with kind of a big circle that's going to be the crust, right? And if you remember, back here on the handout, if you need it, the 5 layers that we're going to add to our diagram are right here. The crust is the biggest one on the outside. It's the outermost layer. Excuse me. And then as they go in and get smaller, this list here is from the smallest inner core out to the biggest. All right, the crust is the biggest outer layer. And then as they get smaller and go in, you've got the outer mantle, the inner mantle, the outer core, the inner core. All right, so let's hop back over here. So now what I'm going to do is go back. I'm going to add another circle. And let me just go ahead real quickly and change the color of that. And the colors are going to be up to you. You make those colors whatever you feel like you want them to be. All right. And kind of stretch them out and get them, arranged the way you want. All right. That's looking halfway decent. So I've got the crust, and that's going to be the outer mantle there. And then I would come along here and add another circle. And when you first add a circle, it winds up being the same. It's kind of the same color as the one right before it. So you probably want to come up here and change the color of it. I'll make that kind of a dark gray, and all right, just kind of size it in there. And you know exactly how thick they are. That's going to be up to you. All right, cool. So we've got crust, outer mantle, inner mantle. Now we're going to go on to the outer core. Okay, so I'm going to add another circle, and let's get let's go with like a kind of an orangish, maybe kind of yellowish. All right. And just, use those handles to size it and move it around. You can move it around and get it sitting where you want. All right. So we're making our layers. They're going from the outside in. Okay. We're getting there. We got one more to go. So I'll add another circle. And this one I'm going to make red, because this is going to be the core. This is going to be the hot molten center. All right. So that's the kind of thing we want. We need 5 layers that are all a different color. Yay. Now, the other thing we need to add to this diagram is that we need to be able to tell, okay, what layer is what. All right. Well, we can do that, I believe, and that's going to be done with text, a combination of text and a few other things. Now, what I would suggest doing here is I'll go to text, and I'm going to say add a subheading. It's a little smaller, and it pops on here with a thing that says add a subheading. And so, like, the crust is one of our layers, right? So I'm going to say crust. I can move that around and put it wherever I want. Maybe I'll have it sit right there. And I'm going to go ahead and make my other labels. I'll show you there's going to be a finishing touch here in a minute. So that's going to be crust. And then I'll add another subheading. Let me pull that out a little bit. And we're going to do the outer mantle. Okay. And let's move that and just kind of find a place to park it. Wherever you feel like you want to park it. I might squeeze that in a little bit. All right, we're going to have an inner mantle. Let me deselect that. Click here again. We're going to have an inner, get my capitals working, inner mantle. And I'm going to move that one down. I'll just kind of park it just down here. Then we're going to have, I'll deselect that. We're going to have an outer core. Well, I'm not sure why it gave me 2 of those, but I can make that work. Outer core. And I'm going to move that. I'll just park that kind of up here. And I accidentally made two at once. I didn't really mean to, but that's all right. And we're going to have an inner core. All right. So we kind of work to get those arranged, and you can just kind of click them and drag them, and you can make them smaller if you think, it's too big. You can make them smaller, move them around, get them, sitting where you want to get them sitting, arrange it how you want to arrange it. Okay, now we've got these labels kind of surrounding the the layers. And by the way, if you click on any of those labels, you can come along here and say, well, I want to change the font. You can do that, right? Come over here and change the font if you want to. Anton. And change the color if you want to, right? I'm just real quickly changing the font on these labels. I'm clicking the labels and clicking a font that I have decided I like. Okay, cool. All right. So now here's the other thing that if you do something like this, I need like some lines that will like connect, like where is the crust? I've got crust sitting there, but which part is the crust? Well, okay. So, one way I could solve that would be set it right on there, and that would indicate that that's the crust. But another way I could do it would be, and by the way, oh, I don't want to go full screen, I don't think. No, I don't want to go full screen. Sorry. Um, I was trying to zoom in some, but that's okay. I'm going to go back here to elements, and I'll hit this X for shapes. I'm going to close that. And look what you got here. You got a collection of lines. And some of the lines, if I go to see all on the lines, some of them are arrows. You could use arrows if you wanted to. I might just use a line, just kind of make it easy. But you could use arrows if you wanted to use arrows. That would work pretty well. All right, but I'm just going to I'll just click on this line and it puts a line here. Okay. So now I can kind of move that line up here to where it says crust, and I can make the line shorter, and I can rotate the line. Use that little rotation handle. Oops, I just Control Z, by the way, is undo, and it works. I missed my control on that line. Okay, so I'm just going to shorten that up a little bit. Right, I want that to kind of point to where the crust is. So that's the idea right there. You see how that line is it's kind of pointing to the crust. Cool. Wonder if can I, oh yeah, if you click where it says 34%, you can I can go like 75%, and I can zoom in on this a little bit more. That makes that a little better, I think. All right, there we go. Cool. Yay. All right. All right, so the next layer in is the outer mantle is my green layer here. So I'm going to click that line again, and I'm going to say, all right, so I want that. I'm going to rotate it. I'll drag it down here, and the outer mantle is the green. Okay, got it. Look at that. So see, that helps you know which one's the outer mantle. The green one. The inner mantle is like that dark one I've got there. So boom, I'll click another line on there. I'm going to rotate that line. I'm going to drag that line down here, and then we'll grab one of these handles, and then boom. Okay, so that's going to go right up to that right there. The outer core is sitting up here. The outer core is my kind of yellowish layer. All right, so I need to add another line. Okay, cool, got that. Yep. And I'm going to move it up here, outer core, and I want to shorten it because I want it to point to that yellowish area. All right, that's working. And I only have one more to go, inner core. So I want one more line, and I'm going to rotate this line, and I'm going to move this line, and I'll make it a little bit shorter and just kind of move it over a little bit here. Okay, so the inner core is pointing to the red part because that's where the inner core is. So I'm going to click where it says 75% here and zoom that back a little bit. Oh, that's too far. Let's go 50%. That's better. It's done. This is it, right? Layers of the Earth. That's the title. There are 5 layers. They're all a different color. Cool. Everything's labeled. Crust, outer mantle, inner core, outer core. Now you could do this. Over on the left, there's a thing that says background. And I could click there and say, how would this look if I gave it like a red background? Do you like it? Right? Or I can go back to, I can control Z undo and say, I decided I don't want a background. How about a purplish background or a blue background? That's not bad. All right. So there's a section over here for backgrounds, and then there are some other backgrounds you could play around with here as well. All right. So now, getting this all turned in and everything. That's it. This is done. And right up here where it says layers of the earth, that's the name of it right there. And so that's a good name. I like that name. Now, I believe that if you click here on this down arrow, you can download it. Right. And there are different kinds of files. PDF would be fine. You could do that. PNG up here at the top, that would be okay. You could do that. JPEG, that would be okay. You can do that. I wouldn't do SV. I wouldn't do these ones down at the bottom. But really, any of these first four would work, right? In fact, I might switch it to PNG. Okay. And then if I download it, it should just go to, it'll be called Layers of the Earth, and it should just go to my Google Drive. So I'm going to hit download, and it's preparing, right? And you could hit like show in folder right here if you wanted to. It says download complete Earth layers, so I could click on that show in folder, and it should show me where it is. Right there it is. Layers of the Earth PNG, and it's on my Google Drive. So when it comes time to turn it in, that's the reason I'm showing you this is like if you have to turn it in, where are you going to find it? Well, it's on my Google Drive. When I downloaded it, it went to my Google Drive, and it's right there called Layers of the Earth. Bingo. So I would be able to go back over here to uh, Google Classroom and do the whole view assignment and do the whole thing that you always do. In fact, I'll even I think more of you that are home today are in fifth hour. So I'll go over to fifth hour, and it's Wednesday, and you would go view assignment, right? Oops, down at the bottom, you go view assignment. And then this is where it doesn't look the same for me. You would hit your plus sign and you would go Google Drive and find that Layers of the Earth thing, and you would just turn that in. All right. Well, let's give that a ride. See how we do.